Recording. Let's go. Let's get right into it. This is episode 593 of the Soul Not For Sale podcast, and we are covering Joe Rogan and Peter Berg. If you don't know who Peter Berg is, he is a man who just made a show that's on Netflix called Painkillers, and I suggest you watch it. It's a very interesting show about a family who was big in the pharmaceutical industry. The things that they got approved, the things that they sold, really impacted the country in a very negative way. And the reason that he did this show is because he wanted this family to have a spotlight on them. And he did that. He did it very well. This is a family that does a very good job of scrubbing everything about them that's negative from the internet. So the fact that Netflix actually decided to do this show and that it's just going to be there from now on is huge. So the show is called Painkillers, and the family is called the Sackler family. You're going to hear a little bit about them. But also, I guess what this clip is about is, I want to say negative people. What do we say? Evil people? People who have done bad things trying to make their legacy into something good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you just call it that. I don't know what else to call it. We're going to be talking about Alfred Nobel. That is his name, right? Mm-hmm. I got the wife here with me, just
Hello.
in case you didn't know. And yeah, Alfred Nobel, and we're just going to listen to this clip because the story of Alfred Nobel and the story of this family are very similar. Even the guy, Peter Berg, he compares it to Oppenheimer in terms of the kind of legacy that these people are leaving behind. Although Oppenheimer didn't care to make it into something good. He was just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what I did.
It's for the sake of science.
Yeah. He, although he didn't feel good about it, he didn't try and change it. He was just like, this is what I've done. It's okay. Destroyer of worlds, I believe he called himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says that like on camera. So let's get into that. We're going to be playing the Joe Rogan clip. Then we got a couple articles, and then you got a little breakdown of Alfred Nobel and what he was about. Mm-hmm. All the weirdness that he was about.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, all right. Let's get into that. Before I do, of course, I have to bring you to IamCoachColin.com. We have the Public Enemy #1 shirt up first. Google the World Economic Forum. Google Agenda 2030. You'll understand why this gentleman is Public Enemy #1, even above Gates. And we have the Great Resist shirt. Do not join the Great Reset. Join the Great Resist instead, because steak tastes better than cockroaches. I might make a shirt that says that. And we also have the Soul Not For Sale shirt, the one that started it all. And we have the Certified Pure Blood shirt for those of you that survived the pandemic unscathed and untainted. This is your certificate of achievement. Get yours now. All available at IamCoachColin.com, including this shirt, the We the People shirt. Check it out. If you want 10% off, all you have to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin. That's it. All capital letters, all one word, one L in the name, Colin. Gets you 10% off on us. Thank you. And if you've done this with us already, thank you so much. You are much appreciated. Now let's get into this clip. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
When he first said you want to do this, he's like, these are the real drug dealers. These are the drug dealers putting up the real numbers, and they're the drug dealers who put their name on museums like the Metropolitan, the Guggenheim, the Louvre in Paris. These are the big time hard hitting drug dealers.
They're real gangsters.
Oh, they're fucking gangsters, man.
It's such a gangster move to put your name everywhere too.
And
especially on like education institutions.
Dude, have you ever
museums.
been in the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Temple of Dender, the giant glass? It's the biggest exhibit in the Met in New York City, and that was the Sackler wing. And I would go in there when we were making the show, and it was this giant. It's on the north side of the Met. It's a massive art wing, and you go in there. It says the Sackler wing, and you go in there, and there's parents running around with their kids. The last time I was there, I saw a guy get on his hands and knees and propose, and it's just this happy, joyful room built on OxyContin. And 2-3 months ago, they took the name down. They finally took the name down.
Finally?
Yeah,
after all these years.
Yeah, so they've taken, and this is the thing that, like, what Arthur Sackler cared more about than anything, which is like the same as Alfred Nobel, right? You know that Alfred Nobel made dynamite. That's how he made his money. It was a fascinating story that Nobel was the inventor of dynamite. It's almost like an Oppenheimer situation.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And the story is that someone ran a false obituary. They thought he died, and they called him a merchant of death. The great merchant of death is gone. This guy, Nobel, who invented dynamite. And at that moment, he realized, fuck, this is how I'm going to be known. This is going to be my legacy, the merchant of death. He took a huge chunk of his fortune and started the Nobel Peace Prize. So when you hear the name Nobel, you don't think about dynamite, right? He invented dynamite, hand grenades and howitzer rounds and munitions. That was all Nobel. Now you just think, oh my God, Barack Obama just won the, Dalai Lama just won the, Martin Luther King and won the, like, this guy made it off of dynamite.
That's insane.
Right? And so the Sacklers were like the same thing. Wait a minute. We know what we're selling here. We know where our money's coming from.
Look at that.
There you
Merchant
go.
of Death to pioneer of Nobel Prize.
The Nobel Peace Prize was a big bait and switch. So nobody thought about the fact that this dude, you know, look at the body count of Vietnam. And
this is interesting. He said many saw his invention, what Alfred thought would end all wars, just like Oppenheimer, as a highly lethal product. When Alfred's brother Ludwig died in 1888, a French newspaper accidentally published an obituary for Alfred that referred to him as the Merchant of Death. Wow.
Right? Did you know that?
I did not. That's a mind blower. But it makes sense because that's how evil fucks are. They'll try to cover up what they're doing with humanitarian work.
100%. And that's what the Sacklers did. Like, okay, heroin and pills. We're like 300. We're up to 300,000 deaths and a lot of wrecked families. Let's buy some art. Let's donate to multiple medical schools, get our names on medical schools all around the country. Let's throw our name up on the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Guggenheim, the Louvre in Paris. They were putting their names on anything they could. There was a bridge in London that one of the Sacklers, the Sackler Bridge, like just anything to take your eye off the ball. And so to me, you know, whether they end up paying $6 billion or $16 billion, yeah, that's real. That's deserved money. But I think the bigger issue is the name. The evisceration of the name is in deep process right now.
As it should be.
Yes.
And I just wonder how they're going to get away without paying criminal penalties. I mean, not just criminal penalties, but like going to jail.
It's hard to go to jail today if you've got a lot of money, Joe.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's a jet. I can't imagine the Sacklers going to jail, but I think worse than jail is the fact that the name is now done.
Yeah.
And that hurts because this was a family that was all about the legacy. And
Man, that is wild. Imagine somebody thought you were gone and then they wrote that type of obituary about you, or at least any negative obituary. Imagine being able to see it, period, like a real one that people actually thought has taken place.
Yeah.
And it's not in the best light. That would be not fun at all. But just to speak to the family that he's talking about, if you don't know, this family, the way that they got it was Oxy, the way that they got that approved was a wild situation. Had a person, whoever was like in charge of approving, he would not approve it. He was put into a hotel room for 2 days, and then when he came out, he was like, I think the language they had to use was like, it's not great, but it seems okay, like that kind of language. Really? It was after 2 days in a hotel room, and nobody knows what happened in that hotel room. And in this show, this gentleman, Peter Berg, he gives his own depiction of what he thinks happened in that hotel room. And apparently, because I haven't seen it yet, it's like a wild scene that they like put together, like very wild, like everything that you could think of, like a
melodrama.
Well, just like a lot of almost like an Eyes Wide Shut type of thing. Like he just got whatever he wanted, you know, anything. Because what would you do for this man in order for him to approve something that's going to make you billions of dollars?
Yeah. Right?
Like, so he probably got anything, or threats of death. Like, One of the two, or both. Maybe you get a little bit of both. You get heaven, and they're like, listen. Okay? It's either, and then he got a real good job after. Like a job that paid, like, at the time, $400,000 a year is pretty good.
That is good.
Yeah, so he went from one place to another, and all he had to do was approve the drug, which is very sad. But yeah, this I myself have seen many people get addicted to this substance, and it's not fun to see, and it's definitely not fun for people to go through, and some people don't make it out. So that's why this gentleman has such a disdain for this family, because, you know, in his mind, and in many people's minds, I mean, if you look at their history, they did it knowingly. They knew what they were doing, and they knew what they were putting into people, and it's wild that it's something that you can get approved if you just have like minor pain. You could have minor pain from like a back thing or this or that, and you can get this thing approved and, you know, become very addicted to it. So but that's the Sackler family. So look into them. Definitely look into them. We'll do something on them eventually, but I just wanted to focus on Alfred Nobel, because I found that very interesting that he made dynamite.
Is this unmuted?
Yeah, it's unmuted.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Why don't you just ask? It's a podcast. You can say anything that you have to say. You can be like, hey, can I talk?
I just saw an X, so I don't know what things mean.
No, you don't have to worry. Just say stuff.
Alfred Nobel. Yeah, he was called the Merchant of Death.
Yeah.
That'd be horrible. Like to read your own obituary, period.
Yeah.
And that's what it says about you.
Look at that. She had that to say the whole time. She didn't say it because she thought she was muted.
You're talking about the Sacklers, and I don't know anything about them.
She thought she was muted.
I have no idea who those people were.
That's what I do when I don't want her to talk. I just mute it.
Yeah.
Heard enough of you. Click.
Mute.
But yeah, what did you find on this situation? Because they broke it down a little bit.
Yeah, they were just talking about like...
There was an inconsistency in something he said, though, in terms of like Merchant of Death.
Yeah, so technically historians can't find any record of a newspaper actually using that phrase.
Okay.
Makes sense. I don't know if it's elaborated or if that was his kind of moniker at the time. Possibly. But he did a lot more than just make dynamite. So he adapted dynamite from an invention called nitroglycerin.
Oh.
That was extremely unstable.
Okay.
So the inventor of nitroglycerin was like didn't really want anything to do with it anymore. Mm-hmm. So Nobel went to school and started studying explosives, and he got like really fixated on nitroglycerin specifically
because it was so unstable.
Yeah, he
saw
just
promise in it, I guess.
Exactly. He just wanted to figure out how to tame it.
Tame it. That's a good word for it. Isn't it weird the way like ideas work? Like we have dynamite today, and it was because one guy was like, I know I can do something. It's like he made, like, you know how everything starts with a thought?
Yeah.
He was just like, I know I can do something with this. I know I can. And it'll be beneficial to the whole world. It'll be great.
That's so funny.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, his father actually was an inventor as well, and did work on like torpedoes and things.
Really?
Yeah, so more like war tools.
His father?
Yeah.
Oh, so he is a merchant of death.
Yeah. It's a family business.
Yeah, it's like in his blood.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they, I don't know what the Crimean War was, but it was Crimean 1853. War. Yeah. So the family factory, so his father's factory produced armaments for the Crimean War.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is really in his bloodline.
For sure.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So after that, he devoted himself to the study of explosives and focused on the safe manufacturing and use of nitroglycerin.
Okay.
So in 1863, he invented a detonator for it. And he figured out that he could mix it with dichotomous earth, which basically is just like a medium that absorbs the nitroglycerin.
And that would make it more stable.
Yeah.
Ah.
And then he had put like a detonator, and like a couple years later, there was a blasting cap. So he made sticks of dynamite.
Wow.
But there was an accident in his factory in 1864. And the explosion killed one of his younger brothers.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen if you're playing with dynamite.
Yeah. Really sad.
Yeah, that's well, it's expected. You're playing around with something like that. You're trying to invent dynamite. That's what's gonna happen. You ride a motorcycle long enough, you're gonna fall and hurt yourself. You know what I mean? You're gonna get into something.
True.
You know? It's weird.
And then even after that, he invented a couple different kind of dynamite derivatives, including something called gelignite, which was more like a gel consistency instead of like a powdery thing.
Okay.
And then one called ballastite.
Ballastite.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what these are, but
are they explosions as well?
Yeah, they're all explosives.
Oh my god!
But my point was, like, he didn't get derailed from his brother's death. He just kept going.
Yeah. Of course. That's like if you heard Elon Musk had a brother that passed away in a rocket, and be like, Elon would be like, next thing.
Yeah.
He probably has one of his brothers hooked up to Neuralink right now.
True. Never know.
He's like, is he alive? Mm-hmm. No. Okay. Send him up in a rocket.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
And then eventually he had established more than 90 armaments factories.
Armaments?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. 90?
90.
So this guy Rogan was saying something in this where he thought that this would end all wars. But I don't think that phrase was meant in a positive way.
I don't know.
It sounds like he was... it would end all wars, like whoever has this is going to end all the wars and like win.
Yeah.
I think that's what this guy meant. He must have.
He was also accused of treason in France because he was living in France for a little while.
Okay.
Because I guess France and Italy were in a war at the time.
Okay.
And
true.
he sold dynamite to Italy.
Wow.
So France he had to flee. So he went to go live in Italy.
What year is this?
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
1900s or 1800s?
End of 1800s, late 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. Because I just know the mafia has a history of using explosives.
Yeah.
That was like a big thing. Well, like I shouldn't even say the mafia. The ones that are from Italy.
Yeah.
Had this history of like car bombing.
Yeah.
They would do that quite a bit.
True.
It's just interesting that he sold it to them.
But he sold it to everybody was kind of the point.
But it was like he introduced that to them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's explosives. Think of what you could do with this. Think of the possibilities, gentlemen.
Yeah. And then while he was living in Italy is when he read the obituary about himself.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what you had here, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was reading in this website. So this rep's website was more talking about how, let me see here, how people were saying there was all these things written about him, but they could only find one, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying here.
Like I said before, like historians couldn't actually find the phrase written down, the Merchant of Death.
But this is what they could find.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they found this little news article. It wasn't technically an obituary, but it basically says like the inventor of dynamite is dead.
Yeah. So this is the actual how it was written, and then it translates to a man who cannot easily pass for a benefactor of humanity died yesterday in Cannes. It is Mr. Nobel, the inventor of dynamite. Nobel was Swedish.
Yeah, so that's not like horrible, but it's not super nice either.
Well, you know what? It's really bad. No, because if someone thinks you're dead and that's the last thing they say,
true,
right? That is really bad, right? And because that's a very polite way of being like, this guy's a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Basically, cannot pass for a benefactor of humanity died yesterday, and they kept it real simple. Like, I don't even want to talk about this guy. It is Mr. Nobel, the inventor of dynamite. Nobel was Swedish. Done.
Yeah.
Like, that's not quite what you want to hear when you pass away. You want some tears. You want some sorrow. You know?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Something. You just get that. It's not the best thing. So that's what you're able to find in these archives?
Yes.
And then this, you said, was the retraction? So they're like, oh, he's not dead?
Yeah, they made a retraction. It says... in an error of the journalist in announcing the death of Mr. Nobel, inventor of dynamite. It was his brother who succumbed to a chronic illness.
Oh, wow.
That's my little bit of French knowledge, guys.
So, you just read that?
Yes.
Wow. No translation.
No, honey.
Oh, man. She is an intelligent asset, guys. She is my handler. She is CIA. She just read French without knowing. Come on. She knows another language. Jeez. Well, wish me luck, guys. But that's so funny. So his brother, well, I shouldn't say it's funny, but look at how the world works. His brother was actually the one that ignited him to invent the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But then some people accredit this woman he saw for like a week.
Oh, okay.
To having him do the Nobel Peace Prize, because he never married.
Okay.
Never had any kids. Mm-hmm. But he had a couple lovers in his life. So let me see if I can find her name so I don't mess it up.
Couple of lovers.
Yes. So he lived in Russia for quite a while with his parents when he was younger, and he proposed to a girl named Alexandra, but she rejected him. And then in 1876, there was an Austrian woman who became his secretary, and her name was Bertha Kinsky. And then she ended up leaving him to marry her previous lover, who was a baron. So she became a countess.
So he was like an incel. He's like, I'm going to blow these ladies up. That's
yeah.
What happened.
But this Bertha Kinsky, the countess, ended up staying like in communication with him for the rest of his life.
Oh, those ones are the worst.
Yeah, right? When they just keep you hanging.
Those ones are the worst. Every guy knows what I mean right now. They're the worst when they do that.
Yeah.
We're friends. No, it was mutual. It was fine. And we're just really good friends now. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, fine. You're going to drag him through the dirt like that. No wonder he made dynamite.
Yeah.
I'm going to blow up a husband. I'm going to blow up the girl that left me. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But people credit her for
him?
For the reason that he started the Nobel Peace Prize.
Nah, I won't even do that.
No?
No, I refuse. She's one of those ladies that's just
you don't want to give it to her.
Some guy around as like a second option because he's ambitious. He's trying to invent this thing. I'll keep him around. No. He did it because of his brother's death, for sure. And because his brother, the obituary that came out, he was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be known as this person. I got this chick that doesn't want me that keeps making me talk to her all the time. I gotta keep writing. I'm writing letters.
Like it's not like it's like a quick text.
Yeah, exactly. I'm writing letters to this chick. I gotta stay where I am so I can get her letters. Nah, this is craziness. Craziness. Her brother did this. His brother did this.
Yeah.
I'll attribute this to his brother. But it's interesting because even like Peter said in the video, you think of Martin Luther King, I think Albert Einstein. Like, there's so many people who won the Nobel Peace Prize. Barack Obama, I believe, won it.
Really?
Which is very interesting because he did drone strikes on people.
Huh.
And there were some innocent people in those drone strikes.
Interesting. Yeah.
Why would he get it? I think at this point, it's one of those things where it's just like, you do a couple of things according to the narrative, and they're like, we're going to give you the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like a little icing on your cake there. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
You did what we said. Here's your prize.
But there was initially like he has a bunch of different prizes, like in chemistry, literature, physics.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
How do you get the Peace Prize? Mm-hmm. If you're someone who did, maybe that's why they're like, Nobel would have loved you, buddy. You're blowing things up. You blew up a bunch of things. Let me give you the Peace Prize. He would have liked this. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Because some of his strikes actually hit innocent people.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, I don't know when he would have won that. But I'm looking at the winners now, and some of them are strange. Like where to go? Peace.
Like who?
For example, in 2020, the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize was the World Food Program.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
That's weird. It's like that's not a person.
By now, it's probably lost its valor, if I could use that word properly. It's probably not as rigorous what you have to do anymore.
Yeah.
If we're going from Martin Luther King to the food program, like
yeah, and this one's International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons was 2017's winner.
That's amazing because no one abolished their nuclear weapons. You see what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, no, none of the peace ones are like legit people.
Who else won? Who famous won?
I'm looking through them, and
Did
it's like
Nelson Mandela?
Unless it's like way back there. I'm at 2014 now.
Oh yeah, go way back.
Well, I don't know what year. It's literally just like a big list.
Just go back to the 60s.
Oh, that's ridiculous. European Union won in 2012.
See what I mean? Just go back. The 2000s is where it's like all just downhill.
Yeah,
for
I don't know
sure.
who that is.
For sure. You gotta go down to the 70s, 60s.
Okay, Barack Obama was 2009.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who these other people are.
You gotta keep going down.
Oh, Al Gore was 2007.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I'm losing respect for this award right now. I'm losing big respect for this award. I thought it was just very, very prestigious people.
No, Jimmy Carter in 2002.
He's all right. He's all right.
Yeah, the whole of United Nations in 2001.
Oh, gosh. So that's the year it fell off. That's the year things got real bad.
Let's see. Doctors Without Borders in 1999.
Just organizations.
Yeah, it's stupid.
At least Nelson Mandela got one. I see it here.
Okay, good.
Good for him. But at the same time, I did a podcast. There's actually a podcast called Pros and Conquerors. And we did an episode on Nelson Mandela. And he used to order people to get put into tires and burned.
Oh.
They would like light tires on fire with people in them.
Well, that's not so peaceful.
Like that, like, because he was like in this, I guess you could say like the Civil War type of thing.
Yeah.
And he was ordering some pretty wild things to happen to people. I don't know. What else did you have on there?
That's about it.
We just had those 2 articles, right?
Oh, yeah. And then he also, right before his death, wrote this weird play.
Oh, yeah.
Which is unrelated to the Nobel Prize, but it's just like super strange. So I thought unrelated. I should mention it. So
it has nothing to do with peace or prestige. It's a vile work.
Yeah. Apparently it's just horrible.
And it was so bad that they had to destroy all the copies. Is that what
yes,
you're saying?
Yeah. So it was like printed right after his death in like 1896, and the clergymen, so the religious people at the time, worked with his family, and they both decided that they were just going to destroy this work.
And this is not how religious people come in and they're like, oh, he said a bad word here and there and we have to get rid of this. No. This had to go. Like
it was like extremely scandalous, like even to today's standards. Yeah. Like horrible, really horrible bad scenes.
If it was like a horror movie, it'd be one of those horror movies where you'd be like, why am I watching this? This is gross.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Like full 40 minutes of like Saw at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Insane.
It was just wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
So, and then, in 2005, I guess right as they were giving out the Nobel Peace Prize in Sweden, this little theater actually put it on because 3 of the copies survived and ended up in circulation, and people found it kind of in the 1990s.
No good.
And the director of the play was commenting, and he said, well, he wasn't a very good playwright.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's probably some little weird artsy fartsy.
And how funny is that? He fought so hard with the Nobel Prize, and then
he leaves that,
and then they just go, he's not a very good playwright. Like that's the last thing said about him. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, that was it.
All right, guys. Like the video if you haven't liked the video already. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We're making 1 to 3 videos a day. Let me know what you think in the comments of this Alfred Nobel, and look up that play. Don't write about it in the comments. No. Just look it up. If you find anything about it, let me know what you think.
It's called Nemesis.
Oh my gosh. And it's called Nemesis. All right, guys. Other than that, we are out.
Bye.